Mutant Genlab Alpha. How does the campaign work? So, it's all in the core rulebook. Everything's there. There's no add-ons. There's nothing else. And the idea is that there are, and the other ones seem to operate the same as well, including Mutant Year Zero. That's the one I have checked, and it does operate the same. The idea here is that there are approximately 5 pre-designated plot points. So it's on the rails from the point of view that those things will happen, and it's usually like a start point, and then whenever you feel like moving the plot forward, you can do the second one. Then whenever you want to move it forward further, or there may be a criteria that moves it forward, and in the case of Genlab, there are some certain criteria that set some of them into motion. And, the speed at which you reveal those predefined missions, plot points, moments, scenes, is the speed of your campaign. Because when you get to the final one, your campaign is finished. So you basically can you can work it out how you want. There's the travel thing, so you can work it out with the little key of how far they've traveled on the map, and you could go to all the extent of, well, we can go like 2 miles an hour or 4 miles an hour on a road or whatever, because it's quicker, but we're on a road, so there's more chance of encountering hostiles on the road and all this kind of business. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, the campaign, I can make it shorter if I want, but I do want a sense of the players being able to move around, get from have a sense of exploring the world a bit, and get to visit all of the other tribes, because the idea here also is that you join the resistance against the Watchers, because the idea here is that basically the humans are gone, the anthropomorphic animal mutants don't know where the humans are. They sort of worship them because the humans are kind of their creators. They don't know the full story of how all that works. The Watchers are the robotic sentinel guardians that were left to protect the animals in the facility within Paradise Valley. And, there are a bunch of like inner fences, and then there's the big outer fence that does the whole perimeter, and that's really, really dangerous. And it's got watchtowers and stuff. And then there are 2 forbidden zones and other kind of forbidden places, and there's rules that the animals live by. So, encountering all these secrets and uncovering all this plot is what it's about. It's basically this RPG, and seemingly the other ones as well, they all use this like secret meta plot info that the players are not meant to know, and basically the entire point of the campaign is to uncover it, and those predefined points usually are the uncovering of it. Yeah, so you get a little bit more of the clearer full picture. And I guess it's up to the players what they generate, player made content as well. But there are a few other like mini gamey kind of stuff that also will elongate the campaign. So yeah, you join the resistance, basically a bunch of animals that are not happy with the state of the Watchers, abusing them as they are, keeping them solitary there, keeping them in their sanctuary, and basically sometimes kidnapping them away into the facility and doing tests on them, and sometimes they don't come back, and sometimes they do, and they're completely different, and it's just awful, and the animals accept it because the humans are divine, and the humans made the Watchers, so ergo the Watchers must be obeyed. They are divine too, and there's a number of these animals that are not happy with the state of that, and they want to break out of this, and so the resistance has formed. So you as the players, I've had to tell the players basically, look, you need to get on board, and basically your characters would want to join the resistance. That's the first thing you'd want to do, Because if you don't want to join the resistance, then the rules of the campaign, they wouldn't make any sense, and I'm not willing to adapt it because, you know, this is the best way to do it. And because of the and that's another important thing, really. The GM's, you know, the GM's got to run whatever's grabbing them at the time, really. So, you know, it happens to be this. And, you know, yeah, so that's a session 0 type of thing, or pre-0 sort of thing, where you explain to all the players, yeah, the campaign needs to be like this. The characters, they're going to need to roughly have these kinds of goals. They can all be different from each other and stuff, but, you know, essentially, you'd want to join the resistance, you'd want to escape, you'd want to get out, or at least on the surface. I mean, you could have a traitor in the party. That would... I've done that dynamic loads of times in RPGs, the traitor dynamic. We've all been fine with it, you know. We've all been adult enough to be able to make it work. I think it would be particularly brutal in this, however, because it's a brutal system as it is, and people can just go down, and you really need that teamwork to help each other. And it would be great if they can get away in the end and get out into the wider world and discover, you know, what the world is out there. Okay, so yeah, so the campaign, there are other mechanics that happen as part of the resistance. So we'll get to why these things are written up on paper in a sec. But the players, basically, as a party, they get to run PC operations with cell operative units and basically send them out into missions across the map to, you know, go to different villages of animals, and the villages are split up with things like, you know, the dog tribe, the cat tribe, the rat tribe, the moose tribe, this sort of thing. Well, the moose don't have a village. You know, there's 9 tribes, 8 villages, and the moose don't have one. They are nomadic. And, you know, you can send your guys off to the different zones. Think kind of like, you know, Assassin's Creed 3 Brotherhood type of thing. So they basically run as NPCs, and you just do some modifier rolls to check the outcome of all of that. And I've got my little cheat sheet thing here to so these are kind of the different operations they can attempt, and I've got my little modifier things and kind of the whole deal about how that works. So, you know, they could send one operative cell out to purge, basically kidnapping or murdering of informants or sympathizers with the Watchers. Or they could attempt a recruit members for a new cell. But they've got different chances of success, different dangers, and then effect, you know. They can create insurgency, they can put the Watcher capacity down, they can minus the population of a tribe if they're, you know, they're killing people within that tribe who may be pro-Watcher, but they're still reducing the numbers of the tribe. And you track all of this. You've got a little sheet to track all the tribes and their numbers and stuff. And if they fall too low, then, you know, that tribe could be in some trouble. And basically, at the beginning of the session, the players get together, and based on the amount of insurgency each tribe's got, that's how many cells no, actually, the size of the tribe dictates how many cells basically the tribe can have. But then it's a case of, yeah, whether they are going further afield as well, how many villages away, is it the one right next door, is it their own village they're operating? It's all modifiers, chances of success or failure. And so you have to do recruitment to recruit more operative cells and then send them cells out and do stuff. But there's a danger modifier, and the danger is a chance of having them killed in the field, basically, and that can happen. So the players get together, and secretly, without the GM knowing, they get together and they choose for however many cells they've got. Well, this cell's going to go here and do it at such village. They're going to do this one and do it at other village. They're going to do this one and do that at this village. I don't know. And then the GM gets to do the Watcher operations one. Again, we'll come back to why these sheets exist, and this is all part of my prep, right? So we get to do the Watcher one. So similarly, again, a whole bunch of missions, modifier chart things, and little things to for the Watchers can do things like abduction, raid, reconnaissance, roadblocks. So I'd try and play this a little bit tactically. So it's kind of oppositional. So the GM runs this, and he or she sorts this out based on the capacity that the Watchers have at that point. So for like at the top end capacity, 100 to 81, you can send out 5 ground squads and 4 aerial squads, and that just gets lower as your capacity goes down. So those PC operations can reduce your capacity, but your missions can basically hurt the tribes. So they choose where they're sending their operatives, right? Their cells. And you, the GM, choose where you're going to send the units of Watcher drones and bots, yeah, and which villages you're going to send them to. And of course, and then you basically reveal it to each other. So you've both worked in secret there, and then you both reveal it to each other. And that's the point at which you say, oh, well, they've gone to the Badger tribe, and there's a whole bunch of the Watcher units that have just gone in there, so that's going to make those NPCs' roles really, really bad, and it's going to add all this extra danger, and they could end up losing their cell. So you get to roll it out and basically, that's how you tell the story. However, the players, the party, count as an operative cell. And this is the thing where they get to basically choose where they're going to put themselves and what kind of mission they're going to undertake. And then they get to have the effects of successfully completing that mission as a cell. And in that sense, the GM is essentially, if he picks and loads up on where they happen to be have chosen to have gone, they could suddenly be up against a whole bunch of bots that are way more than they can handle. So I mean, that can happen, but I like that. I like that sort of thing. That idea that it's not all balanced for your level necessarily. You're wandering around, and excessively nasty, difficult, hard things can crop up, and some of the random encounters, it can be however many larger numbers of the thing may. But whenever there's a dice roll element that takes into account as well as like choosing something like this where we say, well, I will send 5 units to that village, and that just happens to be where the players are. I then know, oh my god, there's loads of bots. Oh wow, oh dear. And hopefully they'll have to deal with that narratively. That will be playing out. So that also affects the length of the campaign and how it all kind of runs. So you do that mini game, that sort of like base thing. And again, a lot of these from this Unity RPG set, the Mutant games, all have this extra mini game element. So in the case of like Mutant Year Zero, you run the arc as a team, as a party as a group of players. You have a little team meeting and you decide where you're, for instance, going to put your research. Are where are you going to improve your tech levels, or are you going to improve, food harvesting or something like that? So you choose where to improve your base. You can't improve it all at once. You choose where to improve your base, and of course then, the GM's rolling, and some sort of mishap may happen towards your arc, your base. And if it happens to be in an area you haven't prepared for, you see how it's like similar but different. Isn't that great? So Genlab Alpha, it does things its own way. It's the same thing. It's the same beating heart, but in the same way that all humans have a beating heart, the structure around it and the skin and behavior and personality can be massively different. So this is going to play different. It's going to feel different. And the length of the campaign is something I can control. But there should be enough meta meat and like mini game stuff for us to really get stuck into here. And I don't want to keep it hanging around for too long anyway. I don't want to overstay my welcome on these things. And I think that's important as well. Get out while the going's good. Leave them hungry. Leave them wanting more. yeah, don't exhaust everything that you could possibly do. So yeah, that's the intention on the length of the campaign itself. So we'll follow up with talking about prep for the campaign, and we can start to look at what the hell's going on with those sheety paper things that I'm doing. And I'll see you at that one.